The EU literally just blew my entire mind with what they just put out. They are literally saying the quiet parts out loud, where now they want to utilize investors' savings to now put money where they would like and do that at the basis of your savings in the European Union. So we've seen governments now attack people and really realize that your money in the bank is not your money. But it's absolutely mind-boggling that the EU is saying that out loud, and they're doing it on their official website. They're literally saying, crossing two hurdles in 1 year, how an EU savings product could boost returns in capital markets. There is now an urgent need to channel retail savings into European capital markets in order to develop those markets and finance EU priorities. I mean, can you believe that? The EU is literally telling you guys right now and saying, hey, you know what? If you guys are saving your money and not putting it to work, we're going to put it to work for you, and we're going to put it where we see fit. Now, where does that all lead? It leads to potentially governments getting bought out, politicians saying, hey, you know what? We need some more money here. So we are going to now badger you guys to give us more money from personal savings account on this X company, and we'll donate a bunch to whatever politician fund that you want. And that's where we're starting to run into some serious issues, because now they're going to be using it without your discretion. And this isn't just, a headline or whatever. The ECB is actually telling you all of this via their Twitter account and their official website. So it's absolutely crazy. And this is not something new to Lagarde either, right? I mean, my buddy Luke, who a lot of you guys know here, with the crazy haircut, is saying when Lagarde was head of the IMF in 2013, she said that seizing people's saving in the bank was a method that could be used to pay back government debt, outright confiscation, or as Lagarde said, inflating away the debt, which is in different form a wealth tax. Of course, they used a political palpable wrapper of the one-off capital levy, but they literally said this before. They told you guys that, hey, if we don't like what you guys are doing, if you guys are keeping too much money in savings, what we're going to do is we are going to then take all that savings away and put it into capital markets or use it to pay off national debt. That's absolutely crazy. The government has a spending problem. The drug is spending, and these governments are just going to keep on spending more and more money and get into this debt spiral. And so what are they going to do? What is the solution here then? Because now they have two layers that they have to go through. Well, not so fast, my friend. As I was saying earlier with China, the EU is literally 3 months away from rolling out this digital euro. They want to eliminate that middleman so they could do these kind of tactics for you guys. Well, for you is a very loose term, for you in quotations. But that is the crazy part here, right? That is the absolute lunacy that we're seeing going on, is that the EU is literally telling you guys, hey, we think that with the digital euro, we could potentially now change that. And how close is that, right? Like I told you guys, October 2025, the ECB has indicated a second phase of preparation for the digital euro. By then, the ECB will have prepared an outreach program of procurement standards and the technology providers. Currently, the digital euro is in the prep phase and nobody can access it. The project has already started handing out private contracts worth over €1 billion, sourcing private vendors to help build the system up. Now, this is where the ECB is literally using money as a weapon at this point. Hey, if you want to get $1 billion, if you want access to all of these different things, we are going to give you money, but you have to accept it in this digital euro format. And the ECB and their relationship with crypto has always been very interesting, right? So here's the requirements for asset issuers and service providers. They need supervision and authorization of these transactions. The ECB is literally killing privacy. They don't care about Bitcoin. And in fact, what I honestly believe is that the ECB does not want Bitcoin or any way, shape, or form to be infiltrated into their markets, but they realize they cannot stop it. So what's the next best thing? Well, we want to know where we are going to be moving all of these transactions. They want to know all of this. So the supervision of this transaction and the transparency is the two out of the three things. And of course, the environmental whatever impact of these things, right? The mining aspect. But I think that the ECB in reality actually loves Bitcoin, because if you KYC initially, well, you know what? They're going to know whenever you decide to move that Bitcoin, because it's the digital ledger here. But we've had, the EU citizens, the EU literally say they want to put the citizens' savings to work. Commission seeks growth by promoting savings and investment. It's absolutely crazy that they're going to try to use your money and do all these things without even, asking you guys. All you got to do is just leave that in a bank, and the EU citizen, and then the EU is going to be utilizing all of that money. Now, they offer broader access to capital markets, better financing. The plan is for the part of the Commission's EU strategy and strategic investments union. Finance Finland finds that SIU's objectives support, but emphasizes the need for a market-driven approach instead of more regulation. Isn't that crazy? They're like, hey, we think you guys need to be more in the markets opposed to more anti. So it's absolutely crazy. And make sure you guys are smoking that like and hitting that subscribe button as I'm bringing this, guys, to you out here live from Finland. And I know we've got McLovin in the chat. Joe, what's going on? Thank you. I appreciate the kind words saying you love my content. Appreciate you guys coming on. Yo, what's going on, Palm Beach? You guys keep blowing up this chat. Tell me what you think about all of it, because I think the finance filament welcoming the Commission's proposal to promote national savings and investment accounts by sharing existing best practices is absolutely crazy. The EU has always been anti-Bitcoin, right? But at this point, they're bending the knee, saying, "Hey, we need to understand what Bitcoin is, and then just go from there." But I think the watchdog warning of crypto-related financial stability risks, the European Union Securities Watchdog warned on Tuesday, and this was from about a month ago, that the cryptocurrency industry could pose risks to the broader financial stability in the future as the sector grows and as ties between it and traditional financial markets increase. So it's all about the EU saying, hey, you know what? We can get tanked here by the crypto markets. They've always tried to paint a negative light when it comes to the Bitcoin and crypto space. Always, right? So if they are doing that, they are not your friend. These are not guys that are looking to, hey, you know what? We're saying that this is going to be a big win. Right? Even earlier this year, they've had countries in the European Union come out and try to say that they wanted to create a Bitcoin strategic reserve. I was just in Prague for BTC Prague. Czechia considered it, but Lagarde nixed that idea before it even got any legs off the ground. So the ECB nixed that idea of the European Bitcoin strategic reserve and did it very quickly. The Czech National Bank said the central bank would consider inclusion of Bitcoin with weighing up of 5% of its reserves. They acknowledged Bitcoin's volatility. If you compare my position with other bankers, then I'm one entering the jungle or the pioneer. I used to run an investment fund, so I'm a typical investment banker. I would say I like profitability. And what does he see? He sees what all of you guys see and I see here. Bitcoin, the best performing asset of the last 15 years, year to date up 15%, even with some volatility. 6 months, about 15.9. And okay, look, we had a measly 0.808 day, but Midwest is asking when 200K. I think it will come in time. I would be surprised if we don't see it this year. But hey, I mean, you know what? Not investment advice, right, guys? But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we're starting to see the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges absolutely get taken off at an all-time rate. And for those of you guys who have been coming to this channel fairly recently, you guys know that I've been showing this chart here all the time, right? I mean, look at this. We're starting to see, oh no, I zoomed in too much. Don't hate on me, guys. But we see like 2 million Bitcoin on exchanges, 2.05 million Bitcoin on exchanges, and it keeps coming off. I mean, look, another 200,000 or 20,000. No, yeah, 20,000 taken off of exchanges here not too long ago, within like this past month, within this past couple days, actually. It looks like 20,000 Bitcoin was taken off exchange. If we go back to the beginning of June, let's see. Yeah, since the beginning of June, we've seen essentially 60,000 Bitcoin taken off exchanges, and I don't think that pace is going to be slowing down, right? And what does that lead to, right? I mean, the buying demand is absolutely high. You guys know I love seeing it. We're seeing them skyrocket in flight. We're seeing so much buying going on from all of these different corporations. We've got countries potentially coming on to a Bitcoin standard. And we're starting to see a bunch of different people start to dip their toe into Bitcoin. And I know that could be very intimidating here, whether it's running a node, some of the privacy aspects. There's a lot of different things that Bitcoin, kind of entails. And this is why I've partnered with my friends over at the Bitcoin Way. You could go to thebitcoinway.com/green candle. They could help you out with literally anything that you need, right? Whether it's setting up a cold card, setting up I've got a treasure sitting right over here. So shout out to my friends over at Treasure, setting up a Bitbox, setting up all of these different things, right? It could be literally anything from there. And on top of that, if you want a plan B passport, run a node, mining, any type of question that you've got, they've got a free 30-minute consultation and they literally work around the clock. If you go here and click book a consultation, look, tomorrow I'm in Finland, so it's 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. tomorrow. But let's see, Tuesday, 10 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. Let's see, 12 a.m. There we go. 12 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. if you go a couple days out. So literally around the clock, and they're there to help you guys because they see what we all see. Bitcoin's price absolutely ripping, continuing to go up. I mean, look at this, in a week up 5%. And everybody is just waiting for Bitcoin to go to like 200,000. You guys forget, like 3 months ago we were at 80K. And we're starting to see that where Bitcoin is starting to get more developed, right? But the thing with Bitcoin is that it's not timing the market, it's time in the market. Bitcoin basically would be just about even without like 10 trading days a year. So if you just hold, you don't run into the likelihood that you miss those 10 trading days, right? That's essentially all you guys need to do, right? It's just buy and hold. It's the easiest strategy there is, stress-free, carefree, and it would make it a lot easier on yourselves. So be sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button, hitting that like button as well. And thank you guys all for coming in. McLevinson, I'm glad the price isn't skyrocketing, stacking more cheap sats while I can. Amen to that. We've got the crypto princess in here saying what up to everybody. Appreciate you guys coming on in and chatting it up here. We've got nearly 200 of you guys in here. So we got to get on both YouTube and X. You guys got to get a little bit more active in this chat, man. I think it's great to see you guys all in here. And I would love to hear some of your guys' feedback as we're running through. But thank you guys all for coming in. And I hope to see you guys on the next one. So please hit that bell notification so you guys know when I'm going live.